Why Alexander Bryan Johnson matters today. Imagine standing in a crowded marketplace where merchants shout their wares, politicians make promises, and storytellers weave enchanting tales. Words fill the air, shaping reality, or at least, the illusion of it. This is the world Alexander Bryan Johnson warned us about. Born in 1786, Johnson was more than just a philosopher. He was a man obsessed with the power and limitations of language, dedicating his life to understanding how words shape our thoughts, beliefs, and ultimately, our destinies. Johnson's insights remain strikingly relevant in today's world, where social media, advertising, and political rhetoric bombard us daily. His teachings invite us to slow down, question the narratives that surround us, and recognize the profound difference between words and truth. This journey through Johnson's philosophy isn't just about abstract ideas, it's about learning how to navigate life with clarity, wisdom, and resilience. 1. Words are not reality, beware of their illusions. Picture a young boy, standing on the shore, staring at the vastness of the ocean. His father, standing beside him, places a hand on his shoulder and says, "This is water." The boy nods, but does he truly understand? He now has a word for what he sees, but does he grasp the true nature of the ocean, the depths beneath, the tides, the unseen creatures swimming below? Alexander Bryan Johnson argued that language often deceives us in this way. Words give us the illusion of understanding, but they are merely symbols, shadows of reality, not reality itself. We frequently use words like love, freedom, success, or truth, as if they have a universal meaning. Yet, in different contexts, to different people, these words may hold entirely different realities. Imagine two politicians debating justice. One believes it means harsh punishment for criminals, while the other believes it means rehabilitating them. They use the same word, but their definitions, and the realities behind them, could not be more different. Practical takeaway. Challenge definitions. What does happiness or failure truly mean to you? Is it what you've been told, or something else entirely? Recognize that words create a sense of certainty that may not be real. Just because something is named does not mean it is fully understood. In conversations, dig deeper. Ask, "What do you mean by that?" You may be surprised at how differently people define the same words. The world is not made of words, it is made of experiences. Once you understand that, you will start to see beyond language's illusions. 2. Be skeptical of grand theories and ideologies. Imagine a traveler setting out on a journey with a map that claims to depict the entire world. He follows it religiously, never straying from the paths it shows. But as he travels, he discovers villages, rivers, and mountains that aren't on his map. The more he explores, the more he realizes that the map is not the territory, it is only an approximation. Johnson warned against blindly following grand theories or ideologies that claim to explain everything. Language allows us to construct neat frameworks, political theories, economic models, religious doctrines, that attempt to impose order on a messy and complex world. But reality is always more nuanced than any theory. Think of history's most dangerous moments: totalitarian regimes, economic disasters, religious wars. These often arose from people believing too strongly in a single idea and refusing to accept contradictions or alternative viewpoints. Practical takeaway. Question grand narratives. Any belief system that claims to have all the answers is probably missing something. Embrace complexity. The world is rarely as simple as language makes it seem. Stay adaptable. The ability to change your mind when presented with new evidence is a strength, not a weakness. Wisdom is found not in rigid adherence to a single ideology, but in the ability to hold multiple perspectives and question your own assumptions. 3. Seek clarity, not just knowledge. A scholar spent decades reading every book he could find, filling his mind with facts, dates, and theories. He became a walking encyclopedia. But when he spoke, his words were convoluted, and few understood him. One day, he met a fisherman who, with just a few words, explained life more clearly than the scholar's years of study ever had. This is the difference between knowledge and clarity. Johnson believed that gathering information is not enough. True wisdom comes from understanding what information truly matters. In today's world, where we are bombarded with data, the ability to filter through noise and find what is meaningful is more valuable than ever. Practical takeaway: prioritize clarity. It's better to deeply understand a few important things than to collect endless information without insight. Question how information is framed. Are you being given raw data, or a carefully shaped narrative? Accept that some things cannot be fully captured in words. Experience and intuition often matter more than definitions. The wise are not those who know the most, but those who know what is worth knowing. 4. Reality is more nuanced than language allows. A poet once tried to describe love. He wrote sonnets, used metaphors, and painted word pictures. Yet, nothing he wrote truly captured the feeling of holding someone in his arms, of longing for someone's presence, of feeling his heart race when they smiled. Johnson recognized this limitation. Language forces us to simplify reality. When we use words to describe emotions, experiences, and ideas, we reduce them to mere approximations. This is why misunderstandings arise, not because people are necessarily wrong, but because words fail to fully carry the depth of meaning they intend. Practical takeaway: be cautious when reducing complex situations to simple explanations. Life is rarely black and white. Recognize that people's words may not fully capture their true thoughts or emotions. Listen beyond the words. Appreciate silence. Sometimes, the most meaningful moments in life are the ones that words cannot express. Life is not a neatly written novel, it is a collection of moments that often defy description. 5. Be aware of the power of words in society. Throughout history, words have started revolutions, justified wars, and shaped entire civilizations. Johnson understood that those who control language control thought. A government that calls its actions peacekeeping instead of war is shaping perception, not just describing reality. Consider how words like freedom have been used throughout history. Does it mean political independence? The right to own property? A lack of constraints? The meaning shifts depending on who is speaking. Practical takeaway: analyze how language is used in media, politics, and advertising. Words are tools of persuasion, not just communication. Be skeptical of euphemisms. Words like downsizing or collateral damage often obscure harsh realities. Recognize that language shapes perception. Those who control words often control minds. By understanding how words influence thought, you become less susceptible to manipulation. 6. Communication is imperfect. Practice precision. A young couple argued late into the night. "I don't feel loved," she said. "But I do love you," he replied. They were using the same word, but they meant entirely different things. Johnson emphasized that communication is inherently flawed because words are imprecise. The key to effective communication is not just choosing words but ensuring they are understood as intended. Practical takeaway: Clarify meanings instead of assuming others interpret words the same way you do. Listen deeply, focusing not just on words but on intent. When resolving conflicts, seek the deeper truth beyond language. True connection comes not just from speaking, but from ensuring others truly understand what you mean. 7. Adapt and reevaluate your understanding over time. A wise man once said, "Yesterday, I thought I knew. Today, I realize I was wrong." Johnson believed that just as language evolves, so should our thinking. Holding onto outdated beliefs simply because they once made sense is a failure to grow. Practical takeaway: stay open to change. The ability to reconsider one's views is a mark of intelligence, not weakness. Be aware that language's meaning shifts over time. Words you use today may not carry the same weight tomorrow. Avoid dogmatism. Adaptability is key to personal and intellectual growth. Wisdom lies in knowing that the search for truth never ends, it only deepens. 8. Truth is not always found in words, sometimes it must be lived. A man once sought wisdom by reading every book he could find. He studied philosophy, memorized scriptures, and debated scholars. Yet, when he faced a personal crisis, none of his knowledge provided comfort. He realized that truth is not just something to be spoken or written, it must be experienced. Johnson understood that words can only take us so far. Language attempts to describe reality, but some truths are only known through direct experience. Love, grief, courage, these are not things we fully understand by reading about them, they must be lived. Practical takeaway: don't mistake intellectual understanding for true knowledge, some things must be experienced firsthand. Be open to personal growth through action, not just through words. Recognize that not everything can be put into words, and that's okay. Some moments are meant to be felt, not described. True wisdom comes from engagement with life, not just discussion about it. 9. The danger of echo chambers. Words can trap us in illusions. Imagine a man who spends his entire life in a room of mirrors, seeing only his own reflection. No matter where he turns, he is met with a version of himself. He believes he knows the world, but in truth, he only knows his own image. Johnson warned that language, when used in isolation, can create echo chambers. When people surround themselves only with voices that confirm what they already believe, they fall into the illusion that their perspective is the only reality. This is why ideological bubbles form. People repeat the same words to each other until they mistake repetition for truth. Practical takeaway: seek out perspectives that challenge your views rather than just reinforce them. Be wary of media, social circles, or belief systems that never allow for questioning. Recognize that just because something is widely repeated doesn't make it true. Escaping the illusion of certainty is the first step toward real understanding. 10. Silence is as powerful as words. Learn when not to speak. A king once sought the wisest advisor in his land. He tested many scholars, asking difficult questions. They all answered quickly, eager to prove their knowledge. But one old man simply sat in silence. "Why do you not answer?" the king demanded. The old man replied, "Because not all questions need words." Johnson believed that silence is an essential part of communication. Sometimes, words distort reality more than they clarify it. In moments of grief, comfort does not always come from speech but from presence. In deep thought, insight often arises not from talking but from quiet reflection. Practical takeaway: recognize that silence can be more powerful than speech. Learn to listen deeply rather than always feeling the need to respond. Understand that wisdom is often found in reflection, not just in words. By embracing silence, we allow deeper truths to emerge. Final thought: language is a tool, use it wisely. Alexander Bryan Johnson's lessons remind us that while language is powerful, it is also deceptive. By being aware of its limitations, questioning the assumptions built into words, and striving for clarity, we can navigate the world with greater wisdom. His work challenges us to think beyond words, seek deeper truths, and approach communication with both humility and precision.